Hey, today I'm going to give you 3 ways to quickly make great software demos on your Mac. I need to make it so the live camera window in CueCam accepts the presentation mode keyboard shortcuts because I was pressing the right arrow on the wrong window. This is Square's TV App Lab number 106, where we talk about ways to improve your remote communication abilities. I'm Michael Forrest and I make Video Pencil, Shoot and CueCam Presenter, among other things like this nonsense. So this week we will start with some updates. So yeah, I hope you've been enjoying my videos. I've been doing one every day. I have stopped doing them at the weekend because it kept turning into a 2-hour project because I always end up having to make changes to the app when I want to do a quick little demo. So I've said, okay, we'll just do it on weekdays instead of trying to squeeze it all into Harvey's nap times. And then, so last week I did start a new rendering project to fix all of these slide transitions and things, but I haven't been able to find a single moment to work on it. So this is the big thing that I'm trying to get to. I did post a video about it. I put that up on Reddit. It's had quite a lot of traction there, and I'm seeing that people are kind of that I'm trying to solve this particular problem as well. And I think this is going to be just the right approach. But the thing is, like, I had a few ideas while I was away in Italy that I still haven't finished working on. So one of those is boring stuff like giving Shoot, you know, some onboarding, like what happens when you first launch Shoot if you don't know what it is. Okay, there's a few different, just tell people that they can connect with CueCam, tell people that they can connect with their browser, and just give some quick tips and even mention ShootKit. I've been talking to someone who's having a go at implementing ShootKit in their own app this week, so that was why I kind of remembered that. And the other thing I've been doing, you know, and then part of that is having a landing page for Shoot as well. So this is a new, just like on CueCam Presenter, there'll be a landing page for Shoot that kind of shows you what the point of that is. So this is all just really boring stuff that I just need to, you know, stuff that I should have done ages ago, but like I'm getting around to it because I know it's like I'm just dropping people in at the deep end in these things and I don't need to be. But it does take an incredible amount of time because I'm juggling, like trying to come up with content that's nice and clear and then trying to make it look good. So this sort of like a technical and design and writing challenge all rolled into one, and they keep like fighting with each other. And as much as I try and get the AI to help me, it's never really gives me what I need. So I'm just generally having to do it on my own. So yeah, that's kind of what's been sucking my time. But I am very happy with how many people have been requesting their quick start guide. If you've seen this in CueCam, all you have to do is just describe what you want to do with it, and I will myself personally kind of put together a quick guide for you to kind of point you in the right direction, give you a few tips. And a few people have done that, and it's been really cool to be able to kind of see how people are using it. And that's one of the reasons I'm doing it. It's a great way to help you use it, but it's also a great way for me to learn how you want to use it, and then that helps me kind of like improve the user interface, make the documentation a bit more, you know, appropriate and useful generally. So, you know, it goes both ways. So I'm really happy to help people out. And, you know, if we have a little email exchange afterwards, that's good as well. Other big news this week is it's WWDC. So Apple has a developer conference every year, and I've had a sort of dip into a little bit. We're only on day 2, well, day 3 technically now, but I haven't had a chance to look because I've been working on this live stream all day. I've had a look, and the main things that have stood out to me so far have been there is a brand new rich text editor in SwiftUI, which is going to be hugely useful in simplifying how CueCam's editor works, because that has been one of the most I don't know if you remember previous versions, the scrolling was crazy if you had a big document, and I did a lot of work on that to make that work better. Now it's pretty good, but if I could have just had this new rich text editor, I would have probably saved myself weeks of work. So looking forward to giving that a go. And basically it's just, attributed string instead of string, and it gives you all these hooks to kind of like style different runs of text, which is all I need to do in my CueCam cards is just highlight the syntax in there. I don't need to do anything else, and then I need the cards to collapse to that. But you know, the amount of code and interoperating systems that I've had to kind of connect together awkwardly to make that happen in the current CueCam is quite painful to deal with. So Another new thing is they've got a new like peer-to-peer Wi-Fi thing, so that like an iPad and an iPhone could connect to each other quite neatly. And there's a user interface for that, and it's secure and all that kind of thing. And so that might be that might make certain things that I have planned in the future with Shoot and Video Pencil work quite nicely. They've introduced Paper Kit, which is like Pencil Kit. So Pencil Kit is the sort of basis for, you know, all the video pencil drawing that we can do. I've had to sort of like do some stuff to get it to work the way I want, but you know it's good. But Pencil Kit seems to be like Paper Kit seems to be like Pencil Kit, but with like image and text attachments. So maybe that kind of like scrapbook mood board type, you know, if I want to stick an image here and I want to stick a text field here, sort of that free form style thing. And I'm hoping it gives you like the make the lines straight feature and stuff like that as well, but I don't know. But yeah, it could mean good things for Video Pencil. And then Liquid Glass, that is the main thing they've been talking about, their new design system, which, to be honest, I'm sure will just lead to a wide variety of subtle and infuriating UI bugs across all my apps. So I'm looking forward to losing weeks of productivity just trying to make it not look terrible. I do tend to try to use, you know, I've been hurt by this sort of change before, so I do try to use Apple's native stuff where I can, and CueCam's pretty good for that, but there's areas where I just haven't been able to, and like Video Pencil and Shoot both have like pretty bespoke UI, so you know, if they've changed how the pencil toolbar looks, then I'm going to have to change how my pencil toolbar looks as well. Shoot has just bespoke buttons, so we'll see what happens to those when Liquid Glass gets involved, if they still look right. So you know, that's going to be, you know, that's going to be some fun for me coming up. And yeah, I just wanted to say like a note about WWDC as a solo developer. So you know, keeping up with the latest Apple frameworks means two different things. The first problem for me is always like a lack of testing hardware. So I don't really have budget for a second sacrificial iPhone, iPad and Mac. And they always have to be like the latest ones as well, let alone like a Vision Pro, which you kind of need if you're going to test the new stuff out. Because otherwise, yeah, if I installed like the new macOS beta on my main computer, it would just tank my productivity like day to day for the next few months. And I did make that mistake in 2019, and like Chrome didn't work. Like it was stuff like that just went bad. So you just kind of need a sacrificial machine. And I have an M1, a couple of M1 machines here actually that I could maybe, I'm trying to sell one of them though, and I could maybe use, but it's even like M1 is probably not enough for some of the stuff they're talking about now. So if I had like a lot more money, then it wouldn't be such a problem. But as a solo developer, it's like I can't really be spending thousands and thousands of pounds on extra Apple equipment just to try and keep up with, you know, just to install all the betas and try out all the new frameworks. The other aspect of the new frameworks is that sometimes it's actually easier to do something in a newer framework, but when I choose to do this, I sacrifice backwards compatibility. So, you know, with CueCam, I have encouraged more than one person to upgrade their macOS to the latest version, just because like I made the decision to support pretty recent versions only because it's just really hard to do a lot of what I'm trying to do in the old ones. And I could, but it would be like 3 times as much work to do the same thing. So, and also eventually, like it will all catch up. But it's just, you know, one of those things where if I choose to support a mod, the latest OS, then I do limit how many people can use my stuff straight away. And that's just another sort of annoyance, but it's like, would I rather have a nice simple SDK to achieve what I'm going to achieve, or would I rather make sure that it works on everything? With Shoot, I do support back to iOS 12. I think I might have changed it to iOS 13, but it was iOS 12. There is a version that supports iOS 12 still, that still works just as well. So, you know, I tend to approach WWDC with the attitude, how are Apple going to ruin my life this year? I think if I was in San Francisco, if I had more insider connections with Apple, it might be easier. But, you know, I was offered that when this other company came to me about acquiring, you know, what I've done. And I kind of felt like it would be a mixed blessing at best. And it wasn't really enough for me to want to kind of like abandon what I'm doing. So yeah, that's the update. I've just noticed my oscilloscope isn't on, so let's turn that on to get the background complete, and then finish with the updates. And so now we're going to go on to the main show, which is 3 ways to produce software demos with CueCam Presenter. And I'm just going to first see Okay, we've got some people. So CueCam is perfect for producing software demos, whether you're recording ahead of time or presenting live on a call. So today I'm going to walk you through 3 powerful ways to create software demonstrations using CueCam. So the first one is going to be a browser or like desktop Mac app situation where you want to share your screen and like maybe jump to the right thing. The second is going to be some cool ways of sharing iOS apps, making demos for those. And the third is just how you can approach these projects with pre-recorded steps and then splitting the video into sections. So if you've seen some of my recent videos about Keynote, I'm going to sort of show you behind the curtain of how I made those. So, and then we'll finish with a pro tip to help you tighten up your demos even further. So to start with, how does CueCam work? So CueCam uses a card-based approach to help you script and present your demo in a flexible and powerful way. So for example, like if I were to share my script that I just showed, it looks like this. I have my teleprompter text, and then sometimes I might have a little title, sometimes I might jump to another document, sometimes I might have, I'll just have different things going on in order to sort of build up a script. So each card represents a share, like a screen or a camera or a video with some simple layout options and the ability to zoom and pan. You can overlay text, graphics and images to build up a presentation, but it's quite sort of simple, and it's really designed around speech. It's really designed around talking, writing a script and what you're going to say first and foremost, and then sprinkling in other imagery and stuff throughout. But obviously with software demos, we do kind of want to keep something on screen the whole time. We might not even have our face. So let's talk about the first technique. The first way is going to be, I'm going to show you how to share a web application. So if you are demoing a web app in a browser, CueCam makes it pretty easy. So things you can do. You can add a website card to share your default browser, and the card will just pop up a URL bar. So if I just make a new document in here and go into demo mode, I can quickly show you. We can just here share website. So that shares my default browser, and it pops up this field where I can put a link. And then my default browser happens to be Arc, but if your default browser was different, I sent you this document, then you would see Chrome or whatever in there. Also, you're not seeing the preview of Arc there because it's on my other screen. Maybe if I bring this over, then that's going to make more sense. And maybe if I come out of this silly mode. So here's my browser showing the live stream. But yeah, so you can see like very easily, like if you've got different pages that you want to show, just pop in a URL and it will just share that particular website and the browser. And to get that URL, you're going to just generally like copy it from the address bar. So in this case, it's going to be like up here, but in Chrome, it's going to be, it's going to be along the top. So, the address bar is there. So just make sure you copy it all. Command A, copy, and then just paste that into CueCam's into this box here, right? And then you can see what website's going to be shared here as well. So you can, a trick that I heard someone wanting to do fairly early on was to be able to set up different browser profiles, like in Chrome or Arc, to demonstrate different user roles. So if you wanted to like have one, if you're demonstrating Salesforce, as a random example, you might have one account that's kind of a big business account. You might have another account which is like, I don't know, maybe later in time for that business to show how it's going. Hi, Jeff from Bedfordshire. How are you doing? So you might have different profiles on those tabs. And something I added into CueCam to help with that is just the ability to just send keystroke triggers into a different app. So what that looks like is, say I wanted to share a website, but I might first want to just switch to the different profiles. So we're going to go to, if I wanted to go to profile 1, what I can do, and here we see, like I've set up like demo profile 1, demo profile 2, both with like sort of, I thought like, let's just do like YouTube Studio with different channels. So this one's Can You See My Screen? And then this one's my personal one. what we can do is, so the keyboard shortcut for that is Control 4 and Control 3. And so what we can do in CueCam is, under More, add a keystroke trigger. You can select which app you want it to go to. So in this case, it's going to be Arc. And then if you click in this box, you can just type the keystroke trigger. So Command 3. And as with all demos, I think because I'm in demo mode, let me just come out of demo mode and do that again. Okay, so that's weird. What I'll do is I'll do this, and then we might have another one which is you know, profile 2, and then we could have another keystroke trigger, and that's again going to go to Arc. Don't forget, you can always like duplicate these cards if you don't feel like kind of doing all the steps again. Okay, so Command 4 worked that time. Let me just sort of change that one to Command 3. Why is it not accepting Command 3, but it accepts Command 4? That's bizarre. Okay, fine. I'm going to just try it. Sorry, sometimes I just get I get stubborn about this stuff. But yeah, so let's just, so say we're on this share. When we present this card, so we're on profile 1. When I present this card, it will, I'm not actually going to present it because I don't want to kind of skip the deck that I'm in the middle of, but it will automatically switch it to demo profile 2. That's just something I wanted to show you. So then the other thing you're going to do when you're writing a demo is you're going to write notes for, you know, each of your cards, and this is going to help guide your delivery and shape the pacing of your demo. So for example, you know, I'll show you some videos I've been doing. So, you know, bringing keynote animations with sound effects into CueCam. So this is sort of like what one cue card looks like. This is me pasting something random in. And then I've got some bullet points. Today I'll be using Keynote, Soundly, CueCam Presenter. They'll come in one at a time. And then, you know, I can have my screen share in there. This is actually using the technique I'll show at the end. But, you know, you kind of have, okay, here's how to do this step. Here's how to do this step. And it's just a good way to kind of keep you on track. And then the next thing just to realize is you can actually, it's quite cool if you crop your browser window the way you want it. So if I look at, if I go back into demo mode again, I can actually like use my trackpad to kind of crop out the area that I want to show. And then when I look at that, when I'm presenting that and I look at that, I'll actually be able to see on my desktop what the crop is. So what that looks like is this. So I can say, okay, I want come out of demo mode. Is this right? So when you've zoomed and panned, you have this option to save that zoom level, and I like to do it for an app. So I can save that zoom for Arc. So whenever I zoom in on Arc, it's going to be set to that crop. And so if you do that once, then all of your screen shares will come in at the same zoom. If you actually have different zooms, then it will transition between those zooms. But then what you actually see on your, when you run your presentation, which you do by pressing record, or if you're presenting live, then you just make sure you have CueCam's virtual camera selected in Zoom or Teams, and then press present in CueCam. And that's this button here. So you've got a present button here, or you've got the record button here. Just up here. So if you are just presenting on your webcam, then make sure that you have CueCam's virtual camera selected as your camera in Zoom or Teams. And if you want to share audio from the apps, then make sure that you have CueCam audio selected as your microphone in Zoom or Teams, so that like any audio that's in that screen share is going to be captured. Watch out for browser-based conferencing, because that's going to be, you're going to get feedback if you try and share the audio over the same thing, because you're sending in your virtual mic and it's then coming out. So watch out for like Google Meet if you're trying to do a browser demo with CueCam. That's just something to be aware of. And then in Zoom, just make sure you have original sound for musicians to enabled, so that it doesn't just apply voice isolation to everything and just basically ruin any audio that's coming through from your videos and your screen shares. But yeah, like the thing that I was excited to get to was when you are sharing your browser with picture-in-picture, you're actually going to get this frame. It'll either be like a grayed out area, or it will be like you can set it to be a pink frame, which you can do in the menu. So what you get there is your teleprompter notes will actually appear like underneath the screen share. So if you've written some stuff in your cards, you're going to instantly be able to see like what you have to say about this, and then when you press next on your Stream Deck or in CueCam, you're gonna be able to really keep on track really easily. The other thing, yeah, so that's the crop outline, the teleprompter notes, and then you can actually see, like, this is overlaid by CueCam onto your desktop, so that if you're talking about something that's behind your picture-in-picture circle, you don't get embarrassed when you realise no one can see it. So that's a feature I added that I find invaluable for doing screen shares and application demos, because it means that I always can make sure that the window is not behind me, and so I can be on screen as much as possible. So that's, I think, really nice. And then something else with CueCam is you can enable 4K 60 FPS. So if you do have something that would benefit from a nice high def screen, software demo, which a lot of things probably do, then just crank it up it's not necessarily any good. I wouldn't do that for a webcam, for a live thing, but if you're recording a video, then, just capture it at that maximum quality, and then your videos are just going to look that much better. So that's how you can share a web browser, and a few little tricks that you can use to kind of navigate and create a script around that, and jump to the right place and jump to the right profile and that kind of thing. So that brings us to number 2. So sharing iOS devices. So if you want to share a mobile app, you can do that through CueCam really nicely as well. So a way to do it is connect your iPhone or iPad to your Mac with a USB cable, and then that's going to make it available as a screen share. So my iPad is connected, so I'm going to make another card in my fake script and then come back into demo mode. I hope that this goes okay. So now, because my iPad is plugged in, I can select it here, my iPad screen, and that's going to sort of hopefully bring in the iPad screen. Yeah, so there's the iPad. It's feeding back for reasons that I won't get into, but what you'll see there is that it's not just the iPad screen, it's also got a little bit of iPad Chrome. So if I come out of demo mode and just share my iPad normally, then you'll be able to see this a bit better. I'll go to my live camera window and I will share my iPad. You will see here I am on the iPad, and it's got this, it's got this Chrome up around the edges, so it sort of looks like an iPad. And that's something that CueCam just kind of gives you. You don't have to figure that out for yourself. CueCam just does that for you. So how do you do that? Basically, when you have an iOS device connected, I'm just trying to find my thing, come back into demo mode, you actually get a drop down next to the iPad with a whole list of different potential frames. And this is not an exact science. The naming of these is basically from an open source project, where they've collected a load of device frames for doing screenshots and stuff. But it means there's quite a few different options here. So basically you just sort of try a different one and see how that looks. Well, that one's kind of the wrong shape, so it's wrong. But here's a sort of green one. That's kind of doesn't fit, but maybe 10.2 silver, no good. 10.2 space gray. Some of these have to download, so it might not be immediate. But this one, yeah, rose gold. So it's the 2019 seem to be good. So I can go silver, I can go sky blue, I can go space grey. So you see the colour of that frame changing as I select different options. So, and then there's iPhone ones as well. So if you've got an iPhone connected, you can sort of try some different, this is going to look crazy if I select an iPhone because it's going to be the wrong shape, you see. So I've got to find the one that was the right one. And basically that's going to be used any time that you share that iPad. So it was one of these, wasn't it? Should we go rose gold? Why not? Quite CueCam-y. So then you see, and then the thing with that's really cool, that I like, is when you are sharing your iPad with that technique. So if I just do that one more time, my iPad, when you use a side 3D, so if you tap the share bar, I'll just show you, so if you're sharing and you, come on, tap the share bar, then, yeah, you see, okay, it's being a bit funny. So you see, if I tap this again, it's going to kind of come up and down. And and then you've got this quite cool view of the iPad, so you can still see whatever's on the iPad screen down here, which in my case is Video Pencil. But if you're sharing an app demo, then it can be down there. You can be full screen talking, and if you should be using a teleprompter for this, so then you can be making eye contact with the camera while you effuse about your software. So yeah, the other thing to know then is when you've got this one card. So this is, first go to, I don't know, Shoot Pro. I'll say we're doing a demo, Shoot Pro webcam, and go to settings. And then you don't have too much on a card. This is probably not quite enough for a card, but if you want to have another card but continue the screen share, just use right click, duplicate card, or you can see Command D does the same thing, and you can sort of duplicate that card. You can also if you had like a blank card in between, you could just hold down Option or Alt. And that was a risky move, but we're back. So you can just hold down Option and drag the card to sort of make a copy of it. So I don't know if you can see that, but so there's ways that you can duplicate the cards, and it's pretty good at auto-saving. So even though usually, so that's duplicate the cards, and it's pretty good at auto-saving. So even though usually, so that's trick 2. Now, the problem with the crash is now it's not going to take me back to the to the right place when I finished my demo. I'm going to have to navigate back myself. So let's talk about the third possibility, which is pre-recording interactions and splitting it across cards. So sometimes it's better to record the demo first and then script around it, right? So here is how you can record your screen using the Screenshot app in macOS. So I'll do it's just called Screenshot. So just do hit Spotlight, search for Screenshot, and it will bring up this interface. So you've got a little thing where you can select to record an area of your screen. You can record the whole screen as well. And this here, I've selected an area which is in the correct aspect ratio, which you can see here. Let's just zoom in and show. So this is 1280 by 720, so that I just know that I've got a video that's going to be in the right aspect ratio, which can sometimes be a bit annoying when it's not. But, sometimes I don't do that as well. And then you can also choose whether to have a microphone input or not, but basically then you can just hit record. And now you'll get a video saved to your desktop. So then to import the video, you can just drag that onto a card in CueCam. So if I have a screen recording, how do people drag long distances with an Apple trackpad? I'll never know. We can have our sort of sample document. I will go into demo mode and I will show you. I'm just going to hide all the other apps. Can I hide all the other apps? Yes. So here is my screen recording, and I can just drag that in, right? And that's going to embed it. But if we hold down you see it's saying hold Option for more options sometimes. If I hold Option, I get a choice of 3 different options on how I want to, we can control the quality of the imported video. So your options are, you can convert and embed. So that's the default thing that CueCam's going to do. So CueCam will convert to 1080p H.265 file format and embed that in your script. So that's just a way to stop screen recordings getting absolutely crazy, right? And so that's fine most of the time, but you can also, if it's not too big and you maybe want to preserve the resolution and frame rate of that recording, then you can embed it without converting. So if you've already set the quality that you want for that file, then you can just you can go to that embed without converting. And then your third option is link to original file, and This is kind of how something like OBS does it, right? Like this is just, instead of copying the file into your script, it's just going to leave it where it is, and then it's going to look for it there next time. So obviously then you can't send the script to someone else, but you're probably not going to need to do that. But just make sure you don't move the file on your file system as well. So I have a thing that cleans up my desktop, and I'm always using videos from my desktop, so it's always a bit annoying if I just leave the file in place. But it will save, you know, just a bit of like behind the scenes. It will actually, in order to play a video file, CueCam has to copy the video out of the package into a temporary location on your Mac. If you embed it, it's going to have one copy inside CueCam, and then it's also going to create another one on your Mac, and then you're also still going to have the original. So it's going to, if you've got like a 200 megabyte file, now you've got a 600 megabyte file. The temporary one will get cleaned up periodically, but it's kind of like needed for the way Apple stuff works. I can't just play it from inside the project directly, which is annoying. So just watch out for huge video files, and maybe sometimes it might be better to trim it in QuickTime before you bring it into CueCam, just to kind of keep the size down. So yeah, that's just a little tool to help you get the video file right. So then once you have added your video to a card, this is where you can do some cool stuff, right? So say I add my video to a card, right? And I'm going to embed without converting, because that's like the quickest option here. It's just going to copy it in without like ruining it. So what you can do, you can scrub through. So this is me. This is actually a weird one, isn't it? I should find a longer one. Oh, I actually can find a longer one. So if I go into the document for this one and view. Let's see, I think it's this one. So I've got this is 130 megabytes, you see. So if I were to just take this file in, and I'm just going to actually leave it in its original, link to the original file, and now we've got this long screen recording of a keynote session, right? And so if I scrub through that, you can see I just basically ran through as quick as I could, no talking, just like ran through all the steps in order to like import into CueCam. I just did that as a screen recording. So now, like, we could sort of use the trim tool to kind of trim that down and like find the right bits, but it can get a little bit fiddly. But what CueCam gives you is this really handy. Okay, you say, okay, I want to go. Well, once I've finished making the slide, I am going to, before I click animate, I'm just going to split that now across two. So this first card is like make the slide, right? Make a basic slide. And then we're going to hit split. And now what we have is, that is now just 30 seconds long. And now this one starts from where the last one ended up. And if we look at the trim view, you see that that's sort of split from there. And if we look at the previous one, we will see that the split is just up to here. So it's using the same video file. It's not creating. We're not using any more data by doing this. We've already maxed that out, I think. So we can just start splitting that up across cards and saying, okay, so step 2 is going to be, we want to click. We want to select the right. We want to select the right thing, and in this case, that pop thing that I wanted people to click on is kind of a bit close to where my picture-in-picture is. So I just toggled off my picture-in-picture for that card. And then when I show this one, and I can just split across here using that split command again. And now this one plays to there and then stops there, right? And so, and I'm going to talk about this in a minute, but the next step is to click pop, right? So I've got my notes, and if we have a look here, you'll see, right, so if we go into the trim, let's start by putting together a sliding keynote. I'll say, aha, add a light bulb. Then the next one was like select animate. So this one sort of like is just another section. So if you see all these different little trims of that one video clip, all kind of come together to make this demo. And if I hit cancel, it's quite useful to see where we end up on each one. And actually, you could even like zoom in. This is the preview of the zoom is not the greatest, but that will actually like crop in to where that box is. And Harvey is back and screaming in the background. Lovely. And then you sort of just go through the video snipping through. If you don't want the audio, you can just, and this one was about sound, so I did have to have the audio on, but you can mute it from here. And basically each split will kind of pick up the settings from the previous split. And so just like make all your notes, and you can sort of like jump to something else and then kind of come back to your main demo and just kind of like break that up across loads of different cards until you've kind of like gone through the whole demo. So the next step then is like, you can, you know, as I say, like you can set what you're going to say, but another thing you can do that's really handy is, so this first card was actually like, it was like 30 seconds long, so I actually changed the speed of that one. So the rest are normal speed, 1x, but this one is actually playing at double speed, and I could have made it play even faster with that drop down. And then we can like choose to like mute or unmute depending on the card, depending what it's got on it. So and I just wanted to give you some advice on how to split up cards when you're doing a demo like this. So the best place to split a card is when you're about to perform the next interaction, like when you're hovered over the button that you're going to press, right? Because this then lets the video play, and then you can sort of like, it's stopped at that key point where the right thing is highlighted, and you can say, okay, this is what we're going to do next, and you can draw a circle around it and draw an arrow, and you can zoom in on it, and you can do like a, you know, a spotlight on it, and you can do some magic sparkles around it, right? Just to say, right, this is the next button you're going to press, and that gives you, that makes it really easy to be clear with those demos, right? So for example, here I'm saying add the pop interaction. So the last frame of this is, so pop is a great workhorse, especially if you're adding a sound effect. So there's quite a lot of choices here, but this is the option. So I stop the video where I'm hovering over pop so that I can say, look, point at this, look, this is what we're talking about. In this example, like, you know, the step is, and then I'm going to drag this range straight into keynote. But before I, you know, I want it to stop just before I start dragging, so that then when I press, I can say, right, now I'm going to drag it, and then I press next on my deck, and it plays the next card, which is the dragging animation, and then it takes us to the next step, and next step. So you want to sort of like, you want each card to build up to the point where you're going to pause, which is the next interaction that the user is going to take. And then the third example I had was, you know, here, like I said before, so I had like, you know, not much to say about step one, but it was quite a long part of the video. So again, I just sped that up to double speed so that it didn't take too long. And you can sort of like, you know, do that depending on which segment. And it just, you can see how much editing and final cutting this saves. Hi, Joe Rama, thanks for joining today. So finally, like you know, you can fix mistakes. You know, if a take goes wrong, like a few minutes in, what I do is you can save it and then mark it. So when you save your video recording, you can mark it as good. So if you're like, fine, I'm going to take this into Final Cut, you can just make sure that on your computer that all of those the files that are the good takes that will be sprinkled between bad takes, you can quickly find again. And that's just something that CueCam makes really easy to do. So you can say, okay, this one was okay, I can use nearly all of it, but I just need to take a bit from this other one and sort of bring it into the bit where I went wrong. So that's just a really simple little affordance, sorry I got a bit loud, that lets you like just manage a project if you are going to have more takes. And of course, like, you do get the Final Cut, you do get the Final Cut timeline included and the AI summary and all that kind of stuff when you finish your demos. That's something I should probably mention. If we do look at, you know, if we go into my CueCam recordings, I'm just going to literally click show file in that window I was just on. Oh, I haven't got one. I'm going to record, I'm going to stop, I'm going to go allow, and I'm going to go show file, and then I'm going to share my, do you know, I've got like a second camera today and I haven't even used it because I'm just not used to using it. I kind of spent some time today working on that, but you know, I'm sort of sharing my desktop. Let's stop sharing my desktop and sharing my second camera and share my I'm going to share Finder, I think. So here's Finder. Wait. Where's I was trying to share Finder. Screen shares. App, share Finder. please. And then come to Finder and maybe zoom in on that a bit. So what I wanted to show you here that's really cool is when we do have a good take, so this is showing a picture in the corner. Now, because I wrote that script, where's my face? Oh, my face. Because I wrote that script, it's because I clicked on the window and it like cancelled the thing. Let's just come back to Finder again. I did not save that zoom, so it's kind of gone back to the previous zoom. Right, let's try this one more time. So, because I thought the Finder window was I thought the preview was the real. So you see this one, I've marked it as green. That's the final take. I'm happy with that. So that gives me the video. So you record the thing. It wasn't even a real one. Let's find one that was definitely real. Yeah, like this one, maybe. In this video, I'm going to show you 2 ways that you can turn a Google Slides. Right. So then I can look in here. So this folder comes. This video comes with another folder, and in that we've actually got a Final Cut document, and we've got this really handy little text file, which takes it comes up with a YouTube video title for you. So in this case, that's like making presentations. I mean, this is a bad title, but I have made it so, in this video I explore how to create presentations, drawing insights from Chip and Dan Heath's best-selling book, Made to Stick. And so it basically takes everything that was in my script. And one of the things I love about this, well, if you have titles, it's going to actually put the timestamps of those sections. But also, like, having the hashtags there is really handy. So I just get it to generate a few hashtags for you. So that's just another really useful thing that wasn't even in my script and isn't in that demo document. So, to wrap up, it's 1741. CueCam gives you powerful tools to create polished professional software demos without editing. You can share your screen, walk through an app, or narrate over a pre-recorded video, and CueCam's card-based workflow and integrated teleprompter will help you keep things punchy and to the point. So that is, if you're ready to try it out, you can get CueCam from cuecam.app. So I'm going to go back to my main session, and we are going to continue with the outro, which is thank you for watching. I hope that was helpful. That was 3 tips on how to do software demos. If you have questions, come and find me on Discord. There's a few hundred people in there now, so you might even be able to get help with some of the apps when I'm not awake. I'm in a different time zone. And I thought instead of this week doing some music, I thought I'd just show you what it looks like outside today. So this is kind of like, I went for a walk outside earlier, and I thought, let's just get a bit of Edinburgh on stream. So thank you everyone for watching, and take care. See you soon. Bye.
It's about 23 miles long.